Howdy guys, it's Joe here with a Golden and a VOD review. Now within these VOD reviews, I'm hoping to help you guys learn some of your bad habits, learn a bit more how to position, and just kind of figure out how to play the characters that you send in a little bit better. And I'm hoping that these videos can do that a bit. Now of course, if you have your own video that you want me to try to review and try to help you get a little bit better at, well, just click on the Discord link either on the screen right now or in the description below, upload your YouTube video, and then link me to that video. I'll download it and do as we see right in front of us. As well with this, before we get started, I want to say, don't be afraid if I pause a little bit. I'm just going to do that to talk about some of the stuff. It won't be too often, but just a little bit. And as well, I might draw on the screen sometimes to show you where people are positioned. Anyways, with that said, with all that said, let's just get straight into this. And one thing that I would recommend just to like everyone is that before the game starts, come up with a game plan and tell it to your teammates. As we see right here, none of you guys really say anything important. Some people just kind of say some stuff, and of course you have a mic right there, but you don't say anything. You don't tell a plan. You don't really tell your teammates to do anything, and you're kind of just hoping that your teammates will luckily do the right thing. You want to have a plan for your team, even if it's not the best plan. If you have some plan and the enemy team doesn't, such as just let's rush right, well, yeah, that's a lot better than them having no idea what to do. So I'd say maybe just start it off thinking of stuff like that. As well though, as we see right here, you guys just decide to rush right. That's a decent enough strategy in itself. Something that's kind of weird that we see is that you just randomly throw out that E. I'd say really make sure, try to save those things. Your E's are extremely important. And I'd say for the majority of the time, it's often a lot better to E your teammates and heal them up, especially your tanks, than actually trying to E the enemy team. Of course, Eing the enemy team does do some stuff, but as we see right there, of course, dealing a little bit of damage to that soldier will charge your ult, but it won't really do much else. And it would have been a little bit better if you could help your tank for a little bit longer by Eing them and having that E for that later on in the transaction of the battle. As you see right here, you're just kind of shooting around. There's not much you can do. What you could maybe do is spam a bit more into where they are, as there's really no negative to doing that. You have to reload, but that's about it. And as well, I'd kind of save some of those shifts for if people happen to try to gank around, as we see right here, such as that Tracer. If people try to do that, well, you can shift them, and instead of just randomly spamming shifts into the enemy glob, they're just going to be woken up, let's be honest, you can try to save it for yourself. I'd really say that you should probably try to do that for a lot of the time. As we see, we just keep going on around here. You throw another E out just kind of haphazardly. That would be decent if your team was targeting them, and I'd say really E's on the enemies can do okay if you're targeting them, if your whole team is. But right then, it probably would have been better again just so that you could save it, use it on your tanks, and just kind of go on from there. Right there, I don't really know why that Lucio went for his ult. I mean, it was okay, but whatever. And as we see right here, you look at that Roadhog, and you immediately ult him. Now, of course, you got slept. There's not much you could do about that. But I'd say make sure to look at tab, and make sure to know that your Roadhog has his ult. Luckily for you, he did. You still used it a bit early, but luckily for you, he did. But yeah, I'd say do that. As well with that, you kind of do want to save your Ana ult until after the other characters are ulting, because you don't want to have those precious few seconds where nothing is happening. Of course, if they're being shot, you can give some damage prevention, but otherwise, there didn't seem to be way too much that you were doing. You could have just waited a little bit longer, and his ult would have been a lot more useful. As well, other than that, you could have also attacked the people that were attacking you right there. Or at least try to sleep them, try to get out of the way somehow. You seem to just be focusing on healing, and especially when that Roadhog was down on the ground. You were trying to heal the Roadhog that couldn't be healed. It'd be better to try to randomly shoot into the enemy's team, heal some other teammates. There's a little bit more that you could have done right there. Not saying it was way too bad, but there was just a bit more that you could have done. As far as right here, you guys are just walking in. I'd say stay a little bit further away, honestly. Walking 1 inch away from the Roadhog. Of course, he's not shooting you, luckily, but for the majority of the time, that shouldn't really be working. And if you were more further back in the right corner, next to the staircase and next to the bridge, you could be a lot safer. Luckily, you didn't die right there, but that could have been a situation where you would have gotten sniped and would have died. As well, finally, I guess ulting that D.Va really had no negative to it. I personally would have ulted the soldier. He can get a few more kills a few seconds faster. But, you know, that was decent enough. Everyone just goes for the ult, just tries to end the game. Honestly, I'd try to save your ult maybe a little bit more at the end, because sometimes the enemy team can kind of clutch it out. You don't really ever want to waste your ult, even if you're so close to winning. That's not as important, but yeah, that's something that you do kind of want to remember. And then, of course, they just don't happen to get on the point. And yeah, so really, I'd say from there, save your E's a bit more. Of course, stay a little bit further range as you get really close. And the final thing, talk in voice chat. No one is talking except for that D.Va who's like, good job. Including you. No one's talking. No strategies are being said. And as we can see a lot in this video, there's almost no wombo combos by your team or either by the enemy team either. You want to have a few more combos, you want to have more stuff that both teams are doing, and you yourself should be doing some of that stuff. If your team isn't making the callouts, it's up to you to make the callouts. I know a lot of the time it's awkward, a lot of the time you don't want to have to make the callouts, but if you aren't like super forceful about it, most people kind of listen to you. There we go. Anyways, the next round is about to start up, and here we go. No one's really talking. You guys are running up. Let's just wait for this. Of course, the D.Va should probably be in the front, but I should probably just wait for her. I don't know why the Lucio's so far ahead. And one thing that we're going to see right here is that you run super far ahead. Now, of course, that can be okay, but honestly, you want to stay behind your team. You're a support. You aren't going in for that damage. And as we see right here, in this case, it was a very bad decision. You jumped ahead of your team, and then the Reinhardt just walks around the corner and whacks you a few times. If you would have been behind your D.Va, if you would have been behind your other tank, he couldn't have done anything. He could have tried to swipe at them, and you could have just healed faster than he could have dealt damage. Well, in that case, you just got taken out, which is a little bit annoying, honestly, but something that you should try to remember. You don't have any mobility as this character. You do have to stay really safe, really far away. There are some times when you can walk up kind of close, but yeah. As well there, I guess you could have saved your E for that Roadhog. It didn't really matter way too much. Right now, it's an okay time to really kind of go for those E's. Now, right here, I do want to talk for a second where you can maybe be. Since your team is pushed up really far, it does make sense to be the place where you are right now. But in other cases, if your team's pushed up even a little bit more, of course, you can walk up here, heal your team, and then walk down around this corner and hide behind this wall or come back to where you are. As well, what you could happen to do, though, is that you could go over here around this corner. Oh, shoot. You could go over here around this corner and shoot back at your team that are right behind you. Both of those will work pretty well. And a final thing, if your team is exactly where you are, what you can decide to do is just head back. Go next to the pillars that are way behind you, and you'll be safe back there. Right here is a little bit unsafe because anyone can shoot you. As you see, this Ana over here, if she was really good, she could decide, look over, shoot you 1, 2, 3, you're dead. And with your health right now, 17 health, she should be doing that. You shouldn't be alive right now. Fortunately, you are. But yeah, that's just something that you could maybe try to do just a bit of. Even though, you know, whatever. As we continue, though, you get some nice shots in the Ana. Honestly, you should have probably E'd yourself and then tried to shoot her if you did that at all. Because that was really unsafe because you had so little health. It worked out, but just a bit unsafe. Next time, I'd definitely try to go the more safe route. Again, right here, you're deciding to ult this Roadhog, which to say is okay, but I feel like there's no real reason for you to do it. It's Roadhog 1v1ing a D.Va with no one else nearby, and of course, you're near the Roadhog with your E up. You could easily beat that fight. You don't need to ult him. It kind of made you and him waste his ult. I would have saved that instead. As well, right here, we can see you try to go for one of those, sleep dart, he gets hooked out of the way. That's just honestly unfortunate, and you do a smart thing, walk behind. That was a good idea, just walk away from that Reinhardt. He should have turned around and tried to kill you, but you know, you did fine yourself. As we continue right here, we can just see you just walking around. You probably, well, that time you tried to go and heal one of your teammates. That time it might have been a good idea to hit the D.Va, because your teammates were just so far away and no one else really needed health, and you couldn't really hit your own team's D.Va and heal them at all. As far as some stuff that I do want to mention is that you could get a bit of a height advantage right here. Of course, there's a few areas behind you, to the right of you, up there. You do want to kind of get a height advantage with some of the snipers. It can really help you overall. You use that a bit too late, but there's not much you could have done right there except for gone a bit earlier. And one thing that I feel like really that is a problem about your team is that you can see right here, they're going for all their ultimates. They're timing them really well. While your team has not gone for a single ultimate yet. They aren't doing much. You decide to ult the D.Va because it's a safe ult, but it's not really going to win you the team fight in this situation. What you could have done is decided to look up at the Pharah and ulted her, and she could have gotten kills a lot faster and maybe even saved yourself right there, which could have been a nice fix for yourself. Of course, now, not always that would have saved you, but at least you would have gotten the damage out faster. You would have killed them a lot faster and just kind of gone on from there. So I'd say, yeah, try to go for that. As well, I haven't really seen any combos, like, at all. Your teammates aren't really going for these, and that's one of the problems that I feel like really does come when you aren't really in a team chat. When no one's talking to each other, no one's going to be going for these ultimates. Or at least if they go for them, they'll be at the wrong time. They won't be timed together. A good example of this is that I haven't seen a single Soldier 76 and ult from you guys. That's an amazing combo. All he has to do is just get above the enemy team, go for that, and he can just maul through the enemy team, especially because if you get their D.Va out of mech, there's not much they can do about it. But we haven't seen that, and we haven't seen people trying to get the D.Va out of mech to do that. We haven't seen much setups. We haven't seen much team play in that orientation at all. Overall, I'd really say that you are doing quite well as far as your aim. Your decision making is pretty good. But the team play really isn't pulling it out way too much. And as well with this, you are overextending a little bit. I could see that often in games, you might be getting a bit too far up with the supports, and you might be getting picked quite a few times. Especially once we get to this portion, you walk a bit too far ahead, one too many times, and I feel like that could definitely be remedied by just being a bit more safe. You see that door over there? You could easily hide behind that. I don't know why you're on the enemy sides of the field right now, because one of them could just decide to walk around and shoot you. There isn't much you could do about it, and especially because you already used your shift, you'd pretty much just instantly die. And then your teammates are next to you. It's a very, very unsafe place to be. As well with this, of course, if you would have saved your E from a little bit earlier instead of just throwing it, you probably could have saved that Roadhog, which, of course, always just a nice thing to do on your Roadhogs. As far as another thing that I would really like to mention before we're getting close to the end is the fact that I feel like you could shoot just a little bit more at the enemy team. Now, of course, you want to mainly prioritize your own team, but there's some moments like right here and just some moments within the gameplay where there's no one that you're really shooting at, including your team and the enemy team. You kind of always want to be shooting at someone. You can get some nice picks on your own, and while you shouldn't really be mainly focusing on that, you can definitely do a bit of damage and definitely help your team out. Just a bit. Get some of those final ticks off. I know Ana can really take out the enemies without way too much trouble. She's some of the higher DPS support in the game, so maybe go for those. Right here, you could just move a bit to the right and shoot through that door. Of course, you might not be dealing the most damage, but while you're waiting, you could go for that. As we see right here, we have a Lucio that you accidentally ulted. A tip to actually not do that is that you can right click and look at your teammate. It'll be a lot more accurate, and you won't accidentally ult those Lucios quite as often. Of course, that's just an extremely annoying thing, but you should be able to help yourself a little bit with that. Just try to right click and get those ults instead of just randomly throwing them out, because otherwise it can be a bit hard. Again, right there, I would say it was kind of a weird E to go for, and just running around behind the back was kind of weird to go for. There was a Mei right there. You want to be a bit more passive, because if that Mei would have decided, you know, there's some people next to me, but if she would have turned around and shot you, well, your team would have been down to support, and they probably could have went in if their team morale wasn't already down the pooper. Anyways, as we see right here, you go for a shift. Again, I guess if you aren't like the best at preemptively predicting where the enemy is going to be, you might want to save those and use those more for easier to get picks. Use them on tanks that are easier to pick off, or just when people are trying to flank around you. I guess in this situation, people aren't doing that way too often, but that's a really nice thing you can do that can definitely up your survivability, because you want to make sure that you aren't just wasting those things. You don't want to be throwing those out, and you don't want to be missing those especially. Luckily, the enemy team didn't go for any ult combos or anything like that, but you could have definitely benefited from definitely saying definitely. Anyways, though, guys, I hope you all enjoyed. This is all I'm going to say about this guy. Honestly, feel like he's doing pretty good, and I feel like the majority of players do pretty well. There's just a lot of team play that they could have improved upon, a bit of positioning, been a bit more safe, used a bit more damage out there, and planned the ultimates a bit better. But that's really not way too much. Just try to think through that, think through all of the moves that you're going for, and try to be a bit more parse with your ultimate and with your other abilities, and you should really be climbing up your way through the ladder. Anyways, that's at least what I'm only thinking for myself. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and highlight your own video in the future. I'll just put it down in Discord, and I'll try to get it as soon as humanly possible. Sorry that I didn't really use the draw on screen function way too much. I've kind of been working on that, but it's a bit awkward to use. Anyways, though, guys, as always, hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did like this new VOD review type thing, tell me. Of course, I don't main every type of character in the game, but I feel like I can give some general knowledge that can help you guys, and of course, a lot of people just like watching videos of people playing and commentary over it, so hopefully that can help you as well. Anyways, as always, thank you guys for watching, and have a wonderful day.